Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this Christmas holiday horror movie review video. It's part of my current series for December 2023 here. So today we're going to take a look at the second movie in this series, Christmas horror movie. Um, and this is a movie that I haven't seen. I've been putting it off and putting it off for quite a few years, actually, at least 3 years. But it's a sequel. It's a remake, I should say, to one of my favorite Christmas horror movie, and one of my favorite slasher movies, if not my favorite slasher movie, the original Black Christmas from 1974, which I reviewed on my channel a few years ago. And then I also watched and reviewed the first remake, Black Christmas 2006, or Black Xmas. I also watched and reviewed that up on my channel, I think a year or two ago. Might have been the same, it might have been a couple years ago when I did the original. But I never watched and never reviewed the Black Christmas 2019 remake. And so I thought I would go ahead and add that to this series. And so here we go. This is another movie, as I said, that I streamed on Netflix. Actually, I don't own the physical copy of it. So, Black Christmas is a 2019 American slasher film directed by Sophia Takal and written by Takal and April Wolf. Part of the Black Christmas series, it is a loose, and I emphasize the word loose, second remake of the 1974 Canadian film of the same name, after the 2006 film, and follows a group of sorority sisters at Hawthorne College as they are preyed upon by an unknown stalker. So basically, the film opens while walking home. Hawthorne College student Lindsay is killed by a masked individual. Riley Stone, a member of the Mu Kappa Epsilon sorority, struggles with PTSD after being raped by Delta Kappa Omicron and fraternity president Brian Huntley. Meanwhile, her sorority sister Chris has angered the DKO fraternity and Professor Gelson following a petition from her requesting that the university founder Calvin Hawthorne's bust be moved from the main building, and another requesting Gelson be fired due to his refusal to teach books written by women. Riley and Chris, along with their friends Marty, Jesse, and Helena, arrive at the DKO fraternity for the talent show, where Riley discovers new pledges for DKO, engaging in a ritual around Hawthorne's bust. She saves a drunken Helena from being sexually assaulted by a DKO member and takes Helena's place in the talent show. Upon seeing Brian in the crowd, she performs a song with her sorority sisters, condemning the rape culture at the fraternity. Later, Helena is abducted by Lindsay's attacker while Riley begins to bond with Landon, a kind hearted frat boy. The girls start to receive threatening text messages from an account posing as Calvin Hawthorne, similar to what Lindsay had received before she was murdered. The next day, sorority sister Fran is attacked and killed by the masked assailant. While searching for Helena, Riley encounters Gelson and finds his list of MKE girls. She reports the disappearance to campus police, but they refuse to help. So that's the setup and the premise for Black Christmas 2019. As far as the cast goes, we have Imogen Poots as Riley, Elise Shannon as Chris, Lily Donahue as Marty, Brittany O'Grady as Jesse, Caleb Eberhardt as Landon, Carrie Elwes as Professor Gelson, Simon Mead as Nate, and Madeline Adams as Helena. So yeah, that's to set up the premise and the cast for the 2019 second remake of Black Christmas. So yeah, this is a movie that I've heard everything from all kinds of people that really scared me away on it for a lot of years. It's too preachy. It's not really a Black Christmas movie. I basically heard it all, but I finally decided to take the plunge and put it on and watch it for myself. And well, I don't like it. I don't think, and part of this is probably because I basically trained myself to think this was going to be the worst movie ever going into it. It's not the worst movie ever. It's not great. It's certainly not a great Black Christmas movie, and that's my biggest problem with it. But let's get into my review, starting with the things that I liked about it, because there are some things to like about this movie. The Christmas atmosphere and the decor is really the first thing that jumps out at me. It's really solid throughout the whole movie. I really like all the outdoor shots and scenes. They really stand out. Where you got the lights, you got all the like the holiday lights on the front of the sorority house and everything. The light falling snow. They really provide the Christmas vibes that you look for when you go into a Christmas horror movie. So that was the first thing that stood out that I liked. Overall, I thought the cinematography and the filming of the movie was really awesome. There's some really great shots throughout, especially in some of the more intense and suspenseful scenes. Namely, the character walking home at the beginning of the movie, and then another character up in the attic towards the middle of the movie. Um, Also, Imogen Poots. I really enjoy her as an actress, and I thought she was really solid in this movie. She's obviously the lead in this movie. I think she makes the character of Riley really compelling, and as a viewer, we get an understanding of her point of view and good. And I think she, excuse me, trying to talk too fast without taking a breath there. I think she has a really good character arc because at the beginning of the movie, it's all about PTSD, and she doesn't want to get involved in controversial things or anything like that. But by the end of the movie, she really becomes a kick-ass sort of protagonist. So I thought there was a good arc and a good range there. She also has a really good emotional range in this movie. So overall, I just thought Imogen Poots was really solid in this movie. I really enjoyed the opening sequence with the female character whose name I forget, where she's walking home and ends up getting stalked. I thought that was a very effective and suspenseful sequence. The first 5 or 10 minutes of the movie, that sequence with all the Christmas atmosphere going on in the background with the houses and stuff. I thought it really provided a strong opening for what the movie was going to be, or at least I thought. Um, a strong opening for what the movie was trying to be might be a better way to say it. So those are my pros for Black Christmas 2019. Now getting into some of the cons. The biggest one I have from a horror movie standpoint is it's not a Black Christmas movie. It's an entirely different plot and storyline that really have nothing to do with they don't have anything to do with the character of Billy from the original Black Christmas movie and the remake. Um, they still use the sorority setting, but obviously it's a completely different plot and storyline. I think much more made for today. Basically, is the best way to say it. As most people have said, and I agree, the themes and the messages of this movie are a bit heavy handed, to say it lightly. Therefore, I don't think the movie's as effective as it could have been if they would have had these themes and messages more under the surface and allowing the horror to take more center stage. Most horror movies have themes. They have messages that they're trying to get across, but a lot of them, especially in the past, not to rip too much on modern day movies, but let's face it, you're smacked over the face a little bit more today with the messages than you were 20 or 30 years ago. But all horror movies have messages involved. Well, I shouldn't say all. There's some that are just for the gore, but most horror movies there's underlying messages, but the reason they're effective is because they're underlying. The movie doesn't become hit you over the head, hit you over the head, hit you over the head with them. Instead, it's interwoven into the story of the movie and the horror that takes place from that. And unfortunately, this movie, one of the big problems with it is it doesn't do that. It's not underlined, it's not subtext, it's completely in your face, right up front. And so, yeah, I can understand a lot of people's problems with that aspect of it. I just think it takes away from the horror more than anything. And as I said, but it's a movie that's very much made for the time that it came out. 2019 was all about the Me Too movement. A lot of the talk about rape cultures on campuses and things like that. And so I just think it's very much a product of its time and still today. But I mean, particularly 2019 is when a lot of those things really came to the surface, led by the Me Too movement. And then another con, I think having a PG-13 rating doesn't really help this movie. I feel like an R rating with more on screen kills and gore would have certainly helped a lot of the people that had a problem with the messaging in this movie. If you would have had, at least you would have had some good kills and some gore. I understand why they made it PG-13 because they wanted to reach a wider audience with the movie. But I feel like an R rating would have made this movie a little bit more harder edge and given it some better horror vibes. And that kind of leads on to my last con, which is the movie isn't particularly scary from a straight up horror standpoint. And I don't think it was something. I don't think it was trying to be. I think that it was trying to use the horror genre. It was clearly trying to use the name of a popular horror film, popular Christmas horror film from days gone by, about 50 years ago, 45 years ago at the time this movie came out, to capitalize on sort of a modern take on the movie. And I think that's what a lot of people are mad about. It's not a Black Christmas movie in terms of what I love about the original Black Christmas and even the remake to a certain extent, the one from 2006. Well, that movie certainly has its problems. It's much more in line and much more in line with the original Black Christmas movie, and I mean, it does do kind of its own thing, but it still takes from that original movie. This one, it takes very little from those movies. It takes the sorority setting, and they try to throw in a couple of little what do you call them? A couple of little callbacks to the original movie, but it doesn't really work that well. Like I said, I think it's a movie that's made very much for its time, for a specific audience. Me being a middle-aged white male, this isn't a movie that was really made for me. That being said, though, I've seen worse horror movies. I've seen worse horror Christmas movies. Am I going to rush out and buy it? No. Am I going to rush out to watch it again? No, because if I want to watch a movie that's truly in the sense of Black Christmas, I'm going to watch the original. And if that one's not available to me, or I still have a haven for wanting to watch a Black Christmas movie, I'll watch the 2006 remake. So I don't foresee watching this movie anytime soon. I might check it out again, maybe a couple years down the road, like Christmas 2026 or something, 2025. But um, I think there was good to this movie. I just think they went the wrong way. The movie could have been better, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They executed it the wrong way, in my opinion. If you're going to rip off Black Christmas, then make sure you execute it the right way. And I don't think they did that with this movie. They also rushed out production of this movie, which I didn't realize until a few weeks ago. That I think they announced this movie like in May of 2019, and it came out in December, which is amazing. But pre-production, production, post-production within 5 or 6 months is that's probably why it wasn't executed as well as it could have been. So that being said, I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. It's definitely the least of the three Black Christmas movies, for sure. But that being said, I still don't. It's not on the same level as a Freddy's Dead or something like that. I could see watching this again in a few years. It's not necessarily something that needs to be added to my collection because, as I said, I don't think the movie was made for me, my age group, my race, my gender, all those type of things. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But was I offended by some of the messages of the movie? More so by the fact that they were heavy-handed and they didn't do what they could have done with having those messages in the movie. I have no problem with the messages. I have a problem with the way they delivered the messages and how hit you over the head time and time again, basically throughout the 90-minute runtime with those messages, as opposed to maybe making a comment at the beginning and the end and then having it interwoven throughout the movie underneath of the horror aspect. And not having it be rated R as well. So, a very much of a mixed bag. I can understand why a lot of people don't like this movie. I don't like it. I don't hate it. It's just kind of what it is. Not a Black Christmas movie that I'm going to rewatch anytime soon. So 6 out of 10 for Black Christmas 2019. But I did like Imogen Poots. I am a fan of her as an actress. I've seen her in some other things too, and I think she really does a good job with all of her characters and roles. So go ahead and comment down below what you guys think of Black Christmas from 2019. Am I being way too kind to it? Do you actually like it? Why or why not? Please comment down below. Please like this video. Hit the little notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews. And please subscribe to my channel as well. Don't just view this video because you're going to miss some great horror content that I have coming out. Not just the rest of this series, but what I have coming out the first 6 months for sure of 2024 and really beyond that. So, again, I hope everybody's having a good holiday season so far. Hope you're enjoying this review series. And of course, stay scared. Bye.